Samuel Little was an American drifter who would later be identified as one of the most prolific serial killers in modern history. For decades, he moved across the United States, leaving behind a trail of violence that went largely unrecognized and unconnected. Born in 1940, Little lived a transient and unstable life. He drifted between cities, often sleeping in cars or temporary housing, and regularly coming into contact with law enforcement for minor offences. His record suggested a troubled man, but never revealed the scale of what he was truly doing. His victims were mostly women living on the margins of society, many of them black, facing addiction, poverty, or surviving through sex work. He later admitted he chose people who he believed would not be immediately missed. Little approached his victims in everyday environments, blending in, avoiding suspicion. This allowed him to get close without resistance. He killed using his hands, strangling his victims, a method that left little forensic evidence. Many deaths were misclassified or overlooked entirely. Bodies were left in abandoned spaces, alleys, fields, empty buildings, places where discovery could be delayed, and even when victims were found, identification was not always possible. Because the crimes happened across different states, they were treated as separate cases. A pattern existed, but no one was seeing it. Over the years, Little was arrested, questioned, and released again and again, while the number of victims quietly grew. It wasn't until advances in DNA technology and the reopening of cold cases that investigators began connecting the crimes. This led to his arrest in 2012. While in custody, Little began confessing. He described his victims in detail and drew portraits of them from memory. Detective James Holland spent more than 700 hours speaking with him, building trust and listening. Little eventually admitted to over 90 murders. Law enforcement has confirmed around 60, making him the most prolific serial killer in US history. Samuel Little died in prison in 2020 at the age of 80, and even now, many of his victims remain uncounted, their families still without answers, because at the center of this case, it's not just a man who killed, but a system that failed to notice, failed to connect, and failed to act, while lives were disappearing in plain sight.